Well, joining us tonight is Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. Tom, great to have you here. A couple of things. Let's begin with the report that we may see General Flynn completely exonerated, perhaps by the end of this week.
Well, if the government violated Judge Sullivan's standing orders to turn over exculpatory information, that's a general requirement, and he's very conscious of this because he saw in the case against the Alaska senator several years ago outrageous government prosecutorial misconduct. If they violated his orders in such a way, he may just throw out the entire case. And maybe, just maybe, Attorney General Barr, once he sees the full documentation, and presumably he has seen by now, he may direct his prosecutors to pull the case. Look, Flynn was ambushed. He was the target of a coordinated leak campaign, as John Durham is now investigating, of classified information, which was also a crime. Comey sent his FBI people over there secretly to ambush him for the interview. They concluded initially he didn't lie. Then they changed their story later. Now it looks like they were withholding information from the court and that they were trying to force him to plead out by threatening his son, something they didn't want to tell the court or the public about. There's all this misconduct around the prosecution of, again, the victims of the deep state, in this case, General Flynn. He should not only be exonerated, the president should pardon him just to be sure, because if Biden or anyone else wins in November other than the president, you can bet the same gang is going to come back and try to re-prosecute him either on this or other charges. They should do a twofer. End the prosecution and pardon him just to make sure he's fully protected from the more outrageous targeting. And remember, the president was being targeted here. When you go after Flynn for talking and doing his job with foreign leaders like the Russians, you're targeting the ability of the president to conduct foreign policy. He should pardon Flynn just to protect his presidential powers and the powers of all presidents from this coup attack that took place and began in the early part of his administration.
Those who refuse, Tom, to acknowledge that this was an outright effort to overthrow the President of the United States they're absolutely, they're lying through their teeth. There can be no other explanation, because every single figure in this was connected to Donald Trump, the President of the United States, both before he was elected and after. It is unprecedented on any metric. What happened to this president had never occurred to any American president before. And as the president says, he doesn't want it to happen again. We can't assure that, can we, if this goes without an accounting, without people being held responsible for criminal, venal acts against the Constitution and this country.
They knew early on, as being reported this week or just now, Lou, that there's additional transcripts coming out of conversations George Papadopoulos had with the spy ring that the Obama gang sent after them, where he disavowed any idea that Trump was coordinating with the Russians. It was further information that there was never a good faith reason to target Trump. And the fact that he continued to do so without telling the court the whole case was shutting down shows the criminal nature of what was going on here. And you're right, it's going to happen again unless there are significant prosecutions. And I'm hoping Barr and Durham do the right thing here or can make the case. But I'm not seeing indication that there's going to be significant prosecutions. But we've got to alert people to the evidence of crimes, because if the people don't know the evidence that's out there, the DOJ will never do the right thing. So that's why it's important this material be released. We just got new emails last week from Strzok and Page showing they were mocking Donald Trump, they were targeting Flynn, and they knew early on that the whole leak operation targeting Trump was a political operation. They knew McCain, for instance, was involved in leaking the dossier. They knew their guy Steele was involved in leaking the dossier, and yet they just continued targeting him. When you look at the emails, you can see the Obama FBI, which continued, frankly, into the Trump administration, was out of control, and Director Wray has done little, in my view, to reestablish trust between the American people and the FBI. He seems more interested in protecting the institution than going after the bad guys that ruined it.
Protecting an institution or protecting corrupt political actors within that institution's leadership. The institution itself has been helmed by absolutely politically corrupt officials for so long now. It's stunning. Wray is now being charged with sitting on this exculpatory evidence. What do you make of that allegation against him?
It would be perfectly in line with what we've seen with the FBI in terms of sitting on material that, if released, would be harmful to the investigators, the dirty cops who were targeting President Trump. They're stalling, for instance, right now. Right now, I told you about those struck page emails. They've been sitting on that material for years. They're holding all the text messages back from us. They have McCabe's text messages they're holding back from us. That's FBI leadership making those decisions, I'm sure. And it wouldn't surprise me if they were behind this effort to suppress the Flynn information. And if I were Judge Sullivan, I'd ask the FBI, why is it you sat on this?
Well, it'd be interesting. It'd also be very interesting to understand why the Justice Department has not let us know, we the public know, what are in those scope memos. We have yet to see them. Have you seen them, Tom? I haven't seen them. No. We're well into this process. We're moving about 4 years into the investigation of a political presidential candidate and president. I'd like to know what was on the Wiener laptop. I would like to know why we haven't been able to find copies of those 33,000 emails that Hillary Clinton destroyed. I'm just curious, and I think an inquiring nation, I believe, would like to know as well. Tom, there's so many things to go through with you each time, but we're out of time. I look forward to our next visit. Thank you so much, Tom Fitton, Judicial Watch. Thank you.